Nothing beats waking up to good news. It's especially great when the news demonstrates cooperation, determination, and just a sprinkle of a miracle or two. You need help? Hey, let me introduce you to the helper. Welcome to Mornings with Bishop Robert. Thanks for joining me here on the top spot on the internet for Beverages with a Bishop. Hey, my goal is simple. I just want to introduce people to the Jesus they never knew, then help them get to know him and his word personally and better. So if our time together today speaks to your heart, let me invite you to like, subscribe, and also share it with a friend. Hey, I'm typically up bright and early. Well, okay, truth be told, it's never bright, but it certainly is early. One of my first tasks is reviewing messages that I received overnight. And on one particular morning not long ago, I got an avalanche of great news. I mean, I was just amazed at all the Holy Spirit had been accomplishing. And I could see the hand of the Lord moving in so many of his people. You know, the CEEC.Church, we've been partnering with a group called the Jesus Alliance, connecting pastors in persecuted areas with pastors in Western non-persecuted churches. And these one-to-one relationships have been so impactful, actually on both sides. Well, that morning, the bishop over the program had sent an email saying he had more names to match up from persecuted churches overseas, pastors who were willing to be connected and risk that connection. I also learned that several pieces of equipment that the Jesus Film Project had provided to facilitate evangelism and discipleship, both in Kenya and South Sudan, had safely arrived. And in Juba, South Sudan, they were received without being charged an import duty. Oh, that's another sign of God's favor when the government's not trying to take money from you. I also got an update on our refugee actions underway in Afghanistan. I was informed that one of our CEEC.Church bishops in Afghanistan had been successful in moving several large groups of Muslim background believers out of harm's way and to adjoining nations who received the refugees. How's all of this possible? I'll tell you. Our verse today explains the only way this is possible. The Holy Spirit helps us in our weakness. Now, don't think for one split second that Mike, the guy who heads up the Jesus Alliance, is taking credit for all the connections between pastors. Neither are Brian or Jared, the men coordinating those connections between the persecuted churches and the Western pastors. Angelo, the brother who received the equipment in Juba, he isn't grabbing glory because it arrived. Me neither. I mean, I just woke up and read about all that happened, so I'm not breaking my arm trying to reach around and pat myself on the back like I was the one responsible. No, this is just a bunch of men, women, and children who understand one thing very, very well. The Holy Spirit helps us in our weakness. And as we acknowledge our weakness, he steps in with his strength. As none of us strives to take credit, God gets all the glory. You know, I shared a simple principle several times on our planning and coordination calls with these folks, and I've shared it often with new people and organizations that come alongside to begin working together. Let me tell you what it is. It's real simple. No egos. No logos. Only the gospel goes. You know, the temptation to take credit, that'll just destroy the work of God. But when we allow him to lead, guide, direct, empower, and enable, well, then he orchestrates things beyond our reach. I mean, he makes things happen that are utterly impossible in our own power. You may find this hard to believe, but there are more things. I mean, utterly amazing and astounding things about which I can't speak at this time. Actually, these are things about which I may not be able to talk for a very long time, because the security of people working in dangerous situations prevents me from sharing more details. But I can tell you that the move of the Holy Spirit is clear and evident in so many ways and places. I'm just simply overwhelmed by his goodness and mercy. The Holy Spirit helps us in our weakness. So let me ask you, where do you need the Holy Spirit to help in today? What impossible situations are you facing? Things you couldn't possibly handle on your own. You can give them to the Holy Spirit. Ask him to help. Hey, we have many people who'll pray for you. In fact, we'll even pray with you if you wish. Private message me on the platform where you're watching or reading this if you want to share a prayer request. But I want you to know that even if your need is so personal and private you feel you can't share it, there is someone who knows. Someone who can step in and help you right now if you ask him. You have a helper awaiting your invitation to step into your life and begin doing his work. The Holy Spirit helps us in our weaknesses. Friends, that's all the time we've got this morning, but could I ask you to help me introduce people to the Jesus they never knew? Then help them get to know him and his word personally and better. Here's how you can do it. Click like on this video, because it really does help a lot more people see it. Then click follow or subscribe so that we can get together every day. And one more thing. Share this video with a friend. Because as you do, that makes you part of the team, touching hearts all over the world with the love of Jesus. Thanks for helping.